Loading into Oceanborn and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our Chinese Terran player, the blue Terran representing Mystery Gaming. It is Coffee. He's our ESL Open Cup Asia runner-up from last night, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss player, the red Protoss, also representing Mystery Gaming as they are teammates. It is Cyan. Here we go, and yes, in the chat, I believe both Cyan and Coffee are neck and neck when it comes to EPT points, and they are looking for whatever points they can gather here to make it into the Esports World Cup. But yes, Riglinium in the chat saying that Coffee is up 15 EPT points. That is true, and EPT points are still available here in these weeklies. They are still on the line. Players can still earn them for at least a little bit longer. I don't know when the cutoff is. I don't know how many more weeks of EPT points, or sorry, of EPT weeklies we have to gain points. At some point, we have to cut off to invite players and, of course, send out invites and manage those, I was going to say flights, but also visas as well. So both Coffee and Cyan fighting hard here for those EPT points. But now we're settling in. Going to be a racked expand economic opener here by Coffee. Meanwhile, Cyan across the map going for a gate cyber expand. Standard opener. So in the chat, Jason beats Dark. So can we really say it's an upset? Oh, true. Kappa. As our Reaper does end up shutting down the probe. Probe is going to be shut down. Factory on the way. Again, just a standard setup here from Coffee. I say standard, just an economic setup from Coffee. Is confirmed by Cyan. Reaper moves out, and now it's going to be on Coffee to scout the tech of choice, whether it's a Stargate opener, Twilight Council, maybe even Robo. We can see it's going to be a Twilight Council build here from Cyan. Has been thrown down on the high ground. So far, the Adept does keep up, zoning Coffee away. And Coffee does have to retreat for the time being. Top up that HP. And we've seen quite a bit of gateway play out of Cyan so far. We had 4 gate blink in game 1. We had 3 gate blink in game number 2. How many gates here against Coffee? I was referring to a series against Smile earlier. Referring to that Smile series. There we go. Twilight Council is done. Blink is on the way. Meanwhile, Coffee getting into his own 1-1-1 build. Interesting. Setting up for an add-on swap. Okay. Add-on swap is on the way. I'm curious if this is going to be for early game Banshees. Banshees have been very trendy in the Terran versus Protoss matchup. And there it is. Cloak is being researched and Banshee production has commenced. Again, over the past couple of months, 2-base Banshee play has been very trendy from the Korean Terran players and even Europeans as well. Meanwhile, Hellions moving out. They are moving out across the map, but it looks like we are in position. We have Stalkers, we have Adepts, but ooh, not quite. We go for the mineral line. Yeah, the army just slightly too much to the right-hand side. We get 1 probe so far as we bust into the main base, and Workers there, ooh, taking a lot of damage and taking a lot of hits. They're lining up. Not like this. The barbecue is real. Probes are falling left and right. And how many Workers have we gotten so far? 17! 17 probes go down. That is game-winning damage. That is far too much. 17 probes for 4 Hellions and 1 Reaper. Ay, ay, ay. Again, that was just a brutal moment for Cyan. He was just a little bit too far on the right-hand side. He was not quite in position to deny that run by third base is on the way. It was 2 gate blink into a third. What does this mean? This means because we only have 2 gateways, we can't really counterattack. We can't really punish Coffee. We can't really assert too much aggression. We're moving out with two Stalkers and 1 Adept. That's all we really have to spare because Cyan was opening up economically. He was going for a greedy build here, working towards a third base, and Coffee confirms. Coffee with this Marine Scout confirms the third base. He knows he's safe and sound. Adept shades in. And this was merely phase 1 of the build of Coffee. He kills 17 workers, moves out with the Banshee up. Oh my god, we have cloak, but we have detection. Banshee is caught out, but we have another Banshee in the main base, and already 4 probes go down, 5 probes go down. Banshees are wreaking havoc. 22 worker kills in total. Now, it looks like the second Banshee was caught out here by these Stalkers, so only 1 Banshee did survive. That was a nice catch by Cyan. Very nice catch, but we need more. Shutting down 1 Banshee is just not good enough. Just because of the game state. As we're settling into our 3-1-1. eBay's on the way for our upgrades. Cyan back at home, still just resaturating his bases, still behind in workers, and now working towards charge. And a 3rd gate. So Cyan still has some catching up to do. As we dive into the main base, but Marines are in position, or we do focus on one of the Stalkers. One of the Stalkers does fall. Tanks sieging up. We have a tank on the natural, tank in the main. Coffee is ready for any kind of aggression. He will not be broken. As we throw down 2 more Raxes at the natural. That is a 5 Rax setup. No 3rd TC. This makes sense. Because Coffee has killed so many workers, it makes sense to go for a 2-base push and commit, just because Coffee is still trying to stabilize. As Cyan is trying to stabilize. As Cyan is trying to step back up, we scan the natural. We confirm no gases at the natural base. Gateway explosion. We're relying quite heavily here on charge lots. A very charge lot heavy build here from Cyan. No gases at the natural, no gases at the 3rd base. 6 gates on the way, and we have a Dark Shrine as well. Okay, Coffee is expanding. 3rd CC is on the way. I believe Cyan did scout it. Checking the vision. Yep, 3rd CC has been spotted. Cyan is aware. As Coffee is moving out. Upgrades are finishing. We have combat shields. We have +1 attack. Tank volleys going off here. We catch some Stalkers. Now, pushing into charge lots is a little bit risky, as the Banshee does reveal itself once again, catching more workers. 8 kills in total. The Banshee did pay for itself. So tanks are sieging up. Observer goes down. Big tank volleys here on those Zealots. Widowmines are leaf poking forward. DTs are coming in. They could try to make or break a defense. We don't have a scan. The DTs can hold on. As we're going for the tank. Mine shots going off. Tanks are going down. But we do clean up the Zealots. And we just stim on forward. There's just almost nothing left to hold on. Immortal comes in, but the Immortal gets shut down immediately. And there's our scan. DT goes down. We have another DT on the way. Oh, not quite. We have Zealots on the way. And it looks like Coffee has done it. We've broken the back of Cyan. We did take a 3rd base, but we didn't need it. Didn't need the 3rd in the end. GG gets called, and Coffee takes game number 1. GG. Again, off of the back of killing 22 probes, even more towards the end there as the Banshee came in, as Cyan was distracted. That was just so much damage dealt by that Hellion dive, and with that, Coffee takes the lead, but it's the best of 3. It is a best of 3 series. We can bounce back here in game number 2. I want to believe that Cyan has it in him to force that ace match. Okay, we all know how good of a player Cyan is, but we have to tighten things up. We cannot afford these missteps. We cannot afford these mistakes. Let's bring it back. Let's go. As we're loading into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our Chinese Terran player, the Blue Terran, leading the series 1-0, representing Mystery Gaming, and 1 game away from advancing on into the semifinals. It is Coffee. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player, also from the land of China, also representing Mystery Gaming as they are teammates. The pressure is on. He has to fight back here and now to force the Ace Smash to have a chance at making it and qualifying into the Esports World Cup. It is Cyan. Here we go. For those that are curious as to what we are referring to, basically the Esports World Cup does have some regional slots available, which would otherwise go to Oliveira, but because of Oliveira's performance in DreamHack Dallas, that means that the Chinese slot is no longer secure. Otherwise, it would have gone to Oliveira. But Oliveira, he's earned his slot through other means, which means there is an Asia slot available. Up next, just behind Oliveira, is Coffee and Cyan, and they are neck and neck in EPT points. Currently, Coffee does have a slight EPT advantage, a slight lead in those points. And if Cyan were to win this series, I mean, he would have earned some. And, I mean, it isn't just this week, but we have a couple extra weeks here in the lead up to those qualifiers where EPT points are available. So it's that much more important for both Coffee and Cyan to vie for those points. Cyan can still earn that spot, but we need to take the series. That's it. We need to take the game, at least. Now we're calming things down. Is going to be a double gas opener this time at a Coffee, not going for a faster command center. We do have our factory on the high ground. Interesting. Okay. As we did go for the Reaper. Reaper first into Reactor. This could be Reactor Reaper Hellion. Could be quite an aggressive opener from Coffee. Could also go into an add-on swap, into earlier Cyclones. Now Reaper does pull back. Hellion production has begun. And the reactor will soon complete as well. Meanwhile, Cyan opening up very safely, going for a Robo Opener. Okay, now we've spoken about this before. A Robo Opener does lead into earlier Immortal production for safety. It does lead into a faster bait into Colossus. It is just a much more defensive way to open up here in this matchup. The downside is you don't have any Phoenixes or Oracles or Blink to be aggressive on the map and to be assertive and to move out. We're going to be stuck at home instead. Unless we rush into a Warp Prism, which is also viable. Meanwhile, there it is. We have gone for Reacted Reaper. It's going to be triple Reaper, double Hellion, moving out across the map. The goal of this army is to get into a mineral line and to roast up some workers. We are moving out. Behind this, following it up with a safety Widow Mine into drop play. Back at home, we have a shield battery. We have our army in position. We're ready for this. This time we should be ready. Coffee does rock up, trying to knock back this wall. Does bust in. One adept goes down. We've raced past the army. Diving into the main base. Probes are under fire once again, but only one Hellion this time. We do catch a couple of workers, but nowhere near as much as we did in game one. Ooh, but more probes are going down. Oh, we do catch a couple more, and it looks like, how many in total? 8. 8 probes have fallen. That's a good amount of damage for 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions. 8 probes did go down. We got a full scout of the main base. Not a bad start for Coffee, but that wasn't game-ending damage. Again, it wasn't as much as game 1, which was 22 workers. That was crazy. We're going to be following this up with a mine drop. Back at home, Coffee is expanding, getting his natural up and running, building up towards his 3-1-1 setup. The mine drop is poised to go into the main. We can see Cyan, okay, not rushing into a bay, working towards a Twilight Council. Observers are coming out. Prism across the map. At the same time, Coffee does dive into that mineral line, and how fast will we react? The reaction! The mine shots up! Oh my god. We do react in time. We pull away. And only 2 probes go down at the same time. Here comes that War Prism into the main base of Coffee. Cyan is not taking this line down. Jumping into the main, but we are in position. Viking does take a lot of hits. Trading a Stalker for a Viking. That's an okay trade. It's okay. Jumping into the main, getting 1 SCV. Oh. Getting an SCV, getting a Marine as well. Not bad. So do rotate over towards that natural. Picking up a couple of Marines. Catching a Marine here and there. Again, I mean, this is still value for Cyan. Meanwhile, that mine drop did survive, and now we're coming back in. Dive back into the main base. Blink is still not done. The mine shot's going to be going up. Medevac will fall. Only 2 more probes. 4 probes in total. Cyan will clean this up, and we are going for a gateway explosion. That is a 6-gate setup on 2 bases. Did I say 6 gates? My apologies. A 7-gate setup on 2 bases. This looks like a 2-base all-in. This screams 2-base all-in. The Prism has survived. Mass charge lot on the way. Not Blink. And did CranKy scout this? We scouted part of this. We saw some extra gateways on the way. But is it enough of a tell? Because it's all or nothing for Cyan. Yeah, Sorg's on the left-hand side. We have the Prism getting ready to dive into the main. Zealots are on the way. Gateway's getting up and running. It looks like Cyan, he's thinking about potentially expanding. We could either expand or warp in. What do we go for? Storm is being researched. An 8th gateway on the way. So 8-gate charge from Cyan. No expansion. And CranKy is preparing back at home. We have 2 tanks on the low ground. We have a bunker as well. The main is more exposed. Stim is now done though. Stim has completed. The Viking does zone away the Prism. And there it is. 3rd base is now being taken. So Cyan is expanding, but this 3rd base is late. This 3rd base could have been so much faster instead of most of these gateways. As extra gases have been taken, scan reveals the timing of the 3rd. CranKy now knows it's not an all-in. CranKy now knows it's safe to expand. Cyan will pull back. It's going to be pulling back from here again. It looks like Cyan, he saw the defensive setup, didn't like what he saw, didn't like what he sees, and is going to try and transition. Storm is now done. We have plenty of storms available. Cyan, he's holding his own. And here comes the move out. Is spotted by the observer. Cyan is aware, and again, we have so many storms available here. Speaking of, storm drop into the natural. And into the main. Zealots into the main base. 9 SCVs going down. Oh, we get a 10th, 11th. 11 SCVs in the main. We force back the army at the same time. Drop. Oh, won't quite commit. Oh, as Cyan bleeds out the Prism. The Prism falls. There was an Archon inside. Meanwhile, we have plenty of storms available back at home. High Templar are spotted. CranKy is kiting well. Good connection. Very nice wood mine shot there from CranKy. But again, he has to be very careful with pushing into this. Do we have a 3rd CC? No. Still no 3rd CC from CranKy. Still committed. And again, we just can't push into this. Where's the 3rd? I'm waiting for the 3rd. Ay, ay, ay. Attempt to shut down. Army moves out. Observer does spot this. Army's getting in position. And you can see how carefully CranKy has to maneuver his army. Observer is spotted. So are the Zealots. A massive Zealot round by is being attempted. CranKy still very all in. Zealot round by does slip by. CranKy going to be responding. Does spot the Zealots. And CranKy responds with everything, forcing a recall. Does force a recall. Main army pushing in the left-hand side. CranKy is racing back. It's a very tense situation here for CranKy, and the longer this goes on, the better it is for the Protoss. As Cyan is now on 4 bases. He's getting his 4th. And CranKy still has not expanded. It's completely all in. Completely all in at this point. Scans, gets eyes on the High Templar. Double jump into the main. Dust him in. And we'll catch a pylon. Not bad. The pylon goes down. Main army pushing forward. Ghosts have arrived. EMPs. It's going to be all about those EMPs. And we're going for it. Up. Up. Oh, we get one. Feedback's thrown down. A massive storm. Oh my god. The storms are insane. We sit in the storms. So many Marines go down. A good start for Cyan. And now we're going to be reinforcing with Zealots. Big mine shot here on the Prism. And we still have energy for more storms. And Coffee's running out of steam. EMP is not quite connecting. Storm on the tanks. Cyan has to be careful though. Has to be careful not to overextend. Pulling back. The Bio Army pushing in. Oh, another storm! Oh, we do sit in it. Massive storm connects. But I believe that was the final storm. But it looks like that's all we needed. Looks like that's the last storm that we did need. As we chase Coffee all the way back home. GG gets called as he was completely all in, and we're going to the ace match. Whew. GG, well played. Cyan bouncing back here in game number 2, able to shut down the earlier aggression, able to commit initially to an all-in and then deviate away from it. As soon as Cyan recognized that he could not break Coffee on 2 bases, Cyan expanded, rushed into Storm. That was the game-winning move for Cyan. Coffee was stuck on 2 bases, committed to an all-in, and Cyan saw everything, was so prepared for it. Did shut it down. GG. We're going to game 3. All the way to game number 3. Oh boy. And how will this story end? That's what it is. Setting up for our next game. Looks like it's going to be on Crimson Court. Okay, interesting. Crimson Court is going to be coming up next. Is one of our more vetoed maps as well in the map pool. One of the more vetoed maps. But it looks like our players are asking for a break. Our players are asking for a moment here. I don't blame them. It's a very tense situation, considering how much there is on the line for both Coffee and Cyan. Sounds like they do need a moment here to gather their bearings. Set up. Meanwhile, do we have any other results coming in? Do we have any other updates? Looks like not quite. Oh, Apple Juice took a map off of Wayne. Very impressive. Very impressive stuff there. Looks like Wayne took down Apple Juice 2-1. Now facing off against Showtime. Max Pax took down Ghostly Swarm at 2-1 as well. Now up against Jason. They are. Well, the quarterfinals is fully underway. All the quarterfinals matches are currently mid-series. And again, as a reminder, we're going to be following this series, Cyan versus Coffee, most likely into the upper semis. Going to be following this into the upper semifinals. And into the grand finals thereafter. We might be able to catch the lower semis. We might be able to, depending on how fast or how slow things are. We might be able to catch it. Otherwise, again, just 2 series left. Semis and finals. So at least 2 series remaining. As it looks like our players are ready and we are diving into game number 3. It all ends here on Crimson Court. It's time to judge. Let's go. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Crimson Court, we have our Chinese Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Mystery Gaming, being forced into the ace match. Can he bounce back? It is Coffee. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player, also representing Mystery Gaming from the land of China, fighting for his Esports World Cup qualification. Can he bring down his opponent? It is Cyan. Again, both players are. Currently, CranKy is ahead in EPT points, so if he wins this series, he will maintain and extend that lead. If Cyan wins this series, then he's going to be closing that gap and edging ever closer here to that world qualification spot. Again, for those that are curious, you get 10 EPT points for winning this tournament, for winning the weeklies. You get 5 for second place, and you get 2 for fourth place, so for the semifinals. So you don't get EPT points unless you make it into the next round. And again, Cyan needs as many points as he can get. Especially because CranKy did make it into the finals last night in ESL Asia. So the pressure is on Cyan. But now it's going to be a double gas opener. Double gas here from CranKy, faster factory. Meanwhile, Cyan going for the Gate Cyber Expand. Standard opener from our Protoss player. Bit of a safer opener here out of CranKy, more tech heavy. Going to be Reaper into Reactor. I imagine into Reacted Reapers once again. I mean, CranKy has been quite successful with his early game Reaper Hellion Harass, but after 2 games of that, I imagine Cyan is going to be tightening up his defenses here in game number 3. As the Probe Scout comes in, and we do get eyes on the expansion. We got that CC follow-up. It's not a one base all-in. Reaper Scout is denied, as he does zone the Reaper away. And looks like we're going to be falling back on another Twilight Council opener. As a reminder, last game, Cyan opened Robo, not Twilight Council. Did open up Robo with our Observers, with our Prism first. Then we went into Charge, not Blink. So this time with this Twilight Council opener, this should be for Blink Stalkers. It should be, I imagine, 2, maybe 3 gate Blink into an Expand. We'll keep an eye on Cyan. Oh, my apologies, as that is not Blink, that is Charge. Bappy. A very aggressive build, very unorthodox. You rarely get to see Charge first here in PvT, but we're rushing into Charge. Should be going for a Gateway Explosion on 2 bases. And CranKy did build up towards Triple Reaper, Double Hellion once again. Now the Reapers, they head into the main, and their goal is to distract these units to bring it all over into said main base. First Adept is taking a lot of hits. And the first Adept goes down. Probes are falling. Hellions, they bust into the natural base. They bust into the mineral line. How many probe kills can we get? Oh, not a lot, actually. We're shutting this down. A much cleaner defense, and only 1 probe falls. So the Hellions are forced back. So are the Reapers. A much cleaner defense here from Cyan. The cleanest defense we've had so far this series. And this is what I was worried about. I was worried about like embracing and committing to this a little bit too often and too frequently over the course of these 3 games. Cyan has been getting better. Has been acclimating here to CranKy. Reaper dips in, heads for the natural, and gets a scout off. And we, I believe, have confirmed the tech. Yep, we did get eyes on the Twilight Council. 2 more gates on the way. Reaper gets shut down. It's going to be 4 gates in total, so 4 gate charge from Cyan. We are mining through these minerals at least to gain access to the 3rd base. Ooh, as an Adept does shade in. That should not have happened. 2 SCVs go down. Good pickoffs here from Cyan. Back at home, we're settling into our 3-1-1 setup. Tank production well underway. Cyan is not skipping warp-ins. The charge ults are spotted. Yeah, big scouts. CranKy does confirm charge. And he pulls back. Immediately we pull back home. Again, you don't want to push into charge lots. Mass Zealot can overwhelm, especially tank-based armies, because once Zealots get on top of the tanks don't do anything. They can't shoot and shoot anything basically right next to them. So Coffee pulls back. Does get eyes on the Prism. And Coffee forced to respond, forced to pull back to the main. Keeping on with the War Prism. Charge shots are going to be dropped. And nice control here out of Cyan, keeping those ults alive. Has to do juggle back, shutting down a lot of Marines. That was 6 Marines going down for 0 units. Very nice drop there from Cyan. Again, he's expanding back at home. And we are working towards our next step. Working towards the Bay, Gateway Explosion +1, 3rd base getting up and running. Cyan is macroing up. Likewise, Coffee throws down a 3rd CC. We had no 3rd base in game number 2, but here Coffee is expanding. We're working towards a longer game. I'm here for it. Here for it. I'm ready for a more back and forth mid-game. Survey position, getting a full scout. Likewise, jump across the map. We have a shield battery, but not many units in position, so we can maybe get some worker kills. Cyan focusing on his own drop. His own War Prism. Marines coming in. Stim is not done, but we can walk in. We do get 1 probe. Get 2. 2 probes go down. We get the hell out of there. Remember, we open up charge, not blink, so there's no way to chase down these medevacs. We do get a Zell drop here into the natural waste, forcing friendly fire. Yeah, the tanks, they have to 1 siege. We get 2 for 2. 2 SCVs for 2 probes. Probes are being knocked down. Prism pulling back. Coffee moving out to expand, taking his 3rd CC at the triangular location, not the linear 3rd. Expanding towards the center instead. And we're calming things down. We're just calming things down, building up with our 3 bases. Colossus production has commenced. Only 1 robo, as we have yet to take our gases at the 3rd. Just making 1 Colossus at a time. Blink is on the horizon, soon to finish. It will give our army just a little bit more flexibility here to keep up with the drop play of Coffee. So you barely save that Prism. And yeah, I'm kind of liking Cyan's position overall. I mean, I say that, Coffee is moving out. Does have Vikings on the way. I believe the Ghost Academy has not yet been thrown down. Bio Viking. Threatening a drop towards the main. Army getting in position at the 4th. And we do thankfully have a couple units here lying in wait in the main base, ready for the drop. And we're committing! Oof. We try to, but we spot the army, we back off. Very mature there from Coffee. Does back off, does retreat. Cyan keeping up. Does spot the medevacs. And Coffee turns back around. Doesn't lose any units. Maintains his army supply. Does pull back home. Meanwhile, Cyan likewise building up on 4 bases. No extra gases yet. Once we take extra gases, we can throw down extra robos and work towards disruptors. As it's going to be a Gateway army with Colossus up against Fire Viking Ghost. Marines, Marauders, Ghosts are amassing. No more tank production here for the Terran player. Ooh, Prism goes down. As he tried to go for a backstab. And there it is. 2nd robo. Disruptors are on the way. So now we're getting to our disruptor production. Likewise, Coffee pushing through the center. Cyan does spot this. Is ready for this. Never goes off. Zoning away the army. Up. EMP does connect. Chargos diving in. But this is not the fight to take. Cyan has to back up. The Colossus taking a lot of damage there. Nova connecting with one Marauder. Tanks are getting within range. And Cyan has to pull back. Okay, giving ground to Coffee. Blinks forward. But the Disruptors, no! Nova's going to be going off. No connections. Disruptors are going down, but it looks like the Gateway Army. Can we break through? As the final Nova will connect, we can focus out the tanks one after the other. But what about the bio? As the Marines, they still on forward. There's one Colossus left, and one Colossus is barely enough. Cyan is holding. Not the cleanest hold. It did cost us 2 Disruptors, 2 Colossus. But Cyan holds onto his 4th base. Our workers are safe and sound. And Coffee throws in his own 4th. 4th CC on the way. Coffee scanning, trying to get eyes on any further expansions. Drop is sent out. Cyan is taking a 5th. Taking extra gases. We have our... Okay, only the 1 gas guys are here as in the 4th. Drop is revealed. We get into the mineral line. Cyan late to respond. You only get 3 probes. Good reaction. Cyan pulls away in time. Saves his workers. And even moving out on the map as well. Bold move. Knocking down these rocks. Widowmine does spot the army. And Cyan is going to get the hell out of here, yeah. That to say. Being quite cavalier here with only like 2 Colossus and 2 Disruptors. Cyan is pulling back. Again, I don't know if you noticed, but his robot production has been a little bit staggered here. Not actually being able to produce 2 units at a time. A big reason for that, again, is our lack of gas. Which we should be embracing momentarily. Still heavily reliant on mineral income here. Focusing on charge lots. I believe we have no... Do we have a Temple Archives? No. Yeah, we don't. No Temple Archives, no Archons yet. No Storm. It's a Gateway Army with robo-based units. I mean, against all these ghosts, we don't really... There's not as much value in Archons, to be fair. Going for a Stargate. Okay, working on our Skytoss transition. I was waiting for some kind of tech. Whether it was a 3rd robo or a Stargate. I was waiting for something. We have our answer. As now we have extra gas being taken. Army coming on the right hand side. It's gonna be just it's gonna be forced back. Workers are making its way towards the natural. There are some turrets in position, but we can break through. Turrets to get a couple of hits in, and Zealots are dropped in. We have Marines in position, and we can focus down the prison. We deny the warp in. Soul defense by Coffee. We have a fusion core on the way. Starport as well. We're getting ready for Liberator transition. Meanwhile, Cyan working towards a 2nd Stargate, a Fleet Beacon, and Skytoss. Now, these extra starports are going to be very important. Vikings going to be crucial here against a Skytoss-based army. Is on the horizon. Is on the way. Yeah, 3rd Stargate. In production here for Cyan. Army's moving out. Nova's going up. Catches them with Widowmines. Bit of friendly fire. Widowmines and Zealots. Connections aren't looking too bad. Coffee rotating around and pushing towards the 5th base. Nexus is exposed. Cyan caught out of position. But here come those Disruptors. That's a kill on the Nexus. EMPs do connect. Massive EMPs on the army. Oh my god. EMPs are insane. And Cyan, these Novas are just a little bit too little too late. Cyan is double expanding. Here on the right and left hand sides. Ooh. Nice splits here out of Coffee. Avoids the Novas. Gets a Disruptor. And gets 14 probe kills. Again, Cyan is expanding here double expanding. But no mining yet. Did lead out bases. Mine shots going up. Harvest exploded. We focus on the disruptors. Oh, massive connection. Finally a good connection here for Coffee. Sorry, for Cyan. But is it enough? As Coffee pulls back, he regroups. Still holding his own. Cyan is still on 72 workers. Coffee likewise on a bit of a lower worker count, working on 3-3. Liberator production has commenced. And after losing the space, Cyan actually can't afford Skytoss. He has 3 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon, but yeah, gases are being taken. We're main routing over towards the left-hand side. Liberators are arriving. Cyan cannot sustain Skytoss. Not right now. Not anymore. That is going to give Coffee a big advantage. Liberators do see each other. We're going for a big DT counterattack. Do hold on. Force DTs to recall, drop on the left hand side. Going for the fresh mining base. And Cyan is on the back foot. And here comes that drop. Shield batteries, they're not done yet. We can blink forward, forcing the army back. Snip forward is harder to say. Do you catch one of those stalkers? We get 2. We get 3. And almost a 4th. At the same time, liberation zones, they have arrived. We have freedom. We focus down the shield battery, focus down the overcharge. We do deny it. And there's 1 disruptor left with the main army. Cyan being bullied back. Barely trying to hold on. Liberators are finally being cleaned up by the Phoenix. But the Nexus will fall. And we shut down the base. Coffee is still unaware of the base on the right-hand side, but it's not even mining. Doesn't matter too much. As Cyan is desperately trying to get into Tempest production. Oh, there we go. Though. Grazing the army. But freedom has arrived. Liberation zones being thrown down on top of the army. And Cyan has to retreat. As we're just rallying across the map, EMP connects. And the Novas are lackluster. And the Nexus falls. And Coffee is snowballing out of control. Diving on the army. Nova will connect, but it doesn't even matter. We can take the Nova to the face. We like it. It's just becoming too much. I mean, the Tempests are getting some damage done. A lot of supply here in Medivacs. The army is heavily overstimmed. Cyan is barely trying to hold on here. With these Tempests, we might be able to. Yeah, there's only 1 Marine, 1 Ghost, barely any anti-air. Cyan is kind of holding, but no! We almost overextend. Yeah, we do overextend. Colossus goes down. The Vikings have arrived. We now have some anti-air. We can shoot up and shoot down. As Vikings land, the Coffee knows he's so close to breaking Cyan here and now. Oh, so close. Chasing down that final Tempest and Disruptor. Only Stalkers remain. Only Stalkers do remain. Cyan still maintaining top left. Still has that base on the right-hand side. And Coffee will finally scout it. Finally gets eyes on the Nexus. And now Coffee can focus it down. And as Coffee heads over to these fringe bases, a big shout out to Juggernaut Jason. I noticed earlier, but it was in the middle of a fight. But a big shout out, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. I mean, I'm sure you were laddering earlier. But I did take note of your performance, and congratulations on bringing down a Future. A very big win for Jason. I was very shocked to see it. So congratulations on your win. I imagine you had a series against MaxPack, so I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you were able to learn from that series and that experience. And thank you so much for the raid. As we're here in the upper half of the tournament. DT's coming in to defend. We will clean this up. Marines are being shut down. But again, Coffee is just snowballing out of control. His macro, his production, his economy. just that much better here compared to Cyan. Cyan does have a base up and running towards the top left, at least. Yes, one base up and running, but we're running out of money, running out of resources everywhere else. So we drop into the main base. Oh, no detection. Oh, there's the scan. There's the scan we needed. At the same time, the army pushing in towards that fourth. Nexus under fire. And all we need are scans. As long as we have detection, we should be okay. It's a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus. The DTs are putting in a lot of work. Liberation zones are thrown down. Meanwhile, the drop of the main base still wreaking havoc, depowering and just denying so much production. Going for the Cyber Core. Cyber Core goes down. Cyan will hold onto the space. I mean, kind of. It did go down, but is being rebuilt. Cyan is barely holding. And I feel like has been on the back foot for quite some time now. It's been impressive that we were able to survive for this long. DT's coming in, but we have a planetary. The turret is going to be focused down, but we have a scan. And Coffee holds. Coffee does hold. Gets the disruptor, gets both disruptors. Novas won't connect. GG gets called, and Coffee finally breaks Cyan, taking the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Coffee as he does take the series. Does take the series in the end. And does advance on to the semifinals. My condolences to Cyan as he did put up an amazing fight and did force the ace match, but alas was overwhelmed here in that final game. We had a back and forth. To be fair, there was a back and forth between Cyan and Coffee, but in the end just could not keep up with Coffee. Was bleeding out too much, took a little bit too long to get into our gases, to get into our economy. We were sustaining too many losses and could not keep up with the trades of Coffee. GG, well played. Remember, Cyan, he teched up into Skytoss towards triple Stargate into a fleet beacon, but could not even afford Skytoss as bases were falling left and right. Again, congratulations to Coffee. Does make it to the semis, does earn extra EPT points, does extend his lead over Cyan. And up next, do we have our next series? Do we have our... Oh, sorry, I should update the score. Bam, there we go. Do we have our next series? Do we have our next opponent?